Welcome to this episode of the Gold Arrow Camp podcast. I am thrilled to have Barrow with me today. Welcome, Barrow.
Thank you so much, Sunshine. It is an honor. It is an honor to be here. So.
Yeah, it's so great to have you. So, Barrow, why don't you start by just sharing a little bit about your history, like your GAC story. How did you get here? And then we'll talk more about the huge positive impact you've had at GAC.
Awesome, thank you so much. So yeah, my GAC story starts many years ago when a good friend of mine from school was telling me all about GAC. And this, I'm going back like 10, 11 years now. And he'd tell me every summer, he'd come back and say, I've just had the most incredible summer. Barrow, you have to come down. You have to come, Gold Arrow Camp it's called, you have to go. And I was like, yeah, next year. And then my kind of hectic life, I was always working, I was always doing something else. So I didn't manage to kind of get here. And then fast forward 12 years on, and here I am. I managed to kind of drop everything. Last year was my first year. And I quit my job and I decided it's going to be the year, and I loved it so much, came back again this year. So I was lucky enough that you guys would take me back and not only in my role, but actually give me a promotion and get me up to a head counselor position. So I really, really appreciated that. So.
Yeah, well, it is actually, it's a little bit unusual for a staff member to start a little bit older. You know, normally our staff are college students. So I think that's one of the reasons that you are a head counselor this year, is that you have, you know, you come with a bit more maturity than some of our younger staff.
Yeah, I guess. And last year as well, like coming as a 30-year-old first year, I think is quite an odd thing for a counsellor to do. And I could see in the 18-year-old, 19-year-old counsellors, they were all just ready to hit the water and have loads of fun. And I was there like with my slight more maturity, just like, okay guys, well, let's just make sure that we're doing this or doing this. But yeah, like you said, there's a lot of kind of late teenagers straight from college, and I felt like I was just a little bit above, having worked many years back in England. So. Well,
you have taken GAC by storm, starting last year and continuing this year. A couple things that pretty much every camper in camp knows you. And a lot of that has to do with your personality. You're very outgoing, got a great stage presence, and super positive. Like you're smiling and upbeat and just bring a really good vibe to camp. But there's an extra special thing that you've brought to Gold Arrow starting last year, and that's juggling, circus skills, and the diablo. So we were talking, not recording, like last week at some point, and I was asking you how you got into it. So why don't you just start by telling a little bit about how you became a juggler, diablo, circus skills guy. So tell that story.
For sure. So when I was a tiny little baby, my dad was a juggler. So he would juggle with the batons, with the pins, he would juggle with the juggling balls. And I don't really remember this. I remember seeing it in like a home video.
Okay.
And I remember seeing him juggling and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then as I got a bit older, I got to like 8 or 9 years old, and I started seeing him juggling a little bit more, but he'd not done it as much now that I'd kind of grown up a bit. And I was like, this looks great. So I kind of got into it, and then he was bought a Diablo for Christmas one year from one of his friends. He tried it once, gave up on it. So I was like, oh, let me have a go. And then that was it. I was hooked. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I just wanted to learn new tricks. I got all of my friends involved with it. So as I was kind of growing up through school, I was like, yeah, let's do some Diabloing together. So then me and my friends would be able to learn tricks together, and just got really excited by it. And then as I grew up even more, became a teenager, I got a job in a juggling shop back in England, which allowed me to make it just from juggling out to all of circus skills. So we've got unicycling, we've got tightrope walking, we've got all of these different things, which hopefully we'll get to GAC one day. And it just kind of went from strength to strength. I started teaching diabloing and juggling classes in England, did like kids parties, all things like that. And I'm lucky enough that here you've managed to facilitate me getting a load of juggling equipment in and being able to teach all the kids, and we've got them in the GAC store now. So yeah, it's just gone from strength to strength, really.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like, as you were talking, and this didn't really hit me when we were talking before, but I wonder how much of your like positive outlook, really strong mental health, could be attributed to all of this great juggling. And now that you and I have kind of researched a little of the science behind why this is so great for all of us and for our campers, I wonder, you know, it's hard to, so you were like 7, right? When you first
I think I was 7 or 8 when I
Yeah.
first got into it.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it for about 23 years now, which is It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah. So we've already, we hear, I mean, I know that a lot of our campers have tried it while they're here. And I know many have gone home with their own Diablo and are still like doing it at home.
To this
We've heard
day.
from parents about that. And so I wanted to have you on just first of all to talk about your, how this is going. And just as an aside, so you offered it during free time, and we have up to 40 kids signing up to come and
yes.
learn these things.
Yeah. So it's just kind of the way that it works is I will get all of the kids for free time. I'll stand them all in a circle and I will show them Diablo tricks, like the most basic tricks, how to get it started, a few basic juggling tricks. We've also got spinning plates, flower sticks and poi as well, which are all different circus skills. I show them that for 5 minutes and then I go, okay, be careful, off you go. And then I will get a bombardment of, Barrow, can you help me with this? Barrow, can you help me with this? And that's when I will have to show everyone all the new tricks, everything that they want to learn. And it's an hour and a half-ish, an hour and a quarter for free time activity. And yeah, I love it. I love it. I even change my own schedule to make sure that I am here so that I can teach it.
Yeah.
Because it's my favorite part. It's my favorite part about being here.
And so for so many kids, I think it's their favorite part. And then at the carnival, like on Saturday, I just was watching, there were probably, I don't know, maybe 40 kids over in the Circus Skills practice area and teaching their friends and practicing. It is definitely a huge trend. I don't want to call it a trend. We want to keep it forever.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's a positive addition to what's been happening at GAC. And we're really grateful that you brought this amazing 23 years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
It also struck me as you were talking, the way you followed your, what you loved. Like, how you went to work in a circus store,
Yep.
and then you got to teach classes, which makes when you teach something, you get even better at it.
Yeah.
And it's also informative just about if you are enjoying something or like something in life, just follow that path. Like keep following like the breadcrumbs of like, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
I'm good at it. Can I make money? Can I work in a circus store? And like, you know what I mean? Can it be a job?
Yeah.
And can I come to a camp where like that's a big part of my job is like teaching circus skills. And then also we've had, I think we added this year. I don't remember it from last year. Maybe you did it last year too, but we have Cirque de GAC at every Appreciation Campfire. Where
Yes.
some of the kids who really dedicated themselves and learned a new trick or, they get up there and perform in front of, almost 500 people.
Yeah, and for a lot of them, they come up to me and they do this incredible trick. And I'm like, oh, would you like to perform? They're like, no, I get stage fright. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to try something new. That's the theme of the summer. So if you want to, I'm going to be here. I'm going to coach you through it. I'm going to make sure that you can get up on stage. And even if you don't land whatever special trick you wanted to do, the fact that you got up and you tried it, that's what makes the difference. And then they'll smile at me and they'll go, okay, as long as you're there with me, Barrow, as long as you're there. And I've got kids who were like, no, I can't do it. And then it gets to appreciation. They get really excited. They're like, actually, yeah, can you sign me up? I'm like, of course I can.
Oh,
of course.
That's so great. Yeah, it's like the multi-layers, how everything is here.
Yeah.
That it's like, yeah, okay, there's one thing is that you're learning this skill of juggling, but like it's a whole nother thing to put yourself out there and do something in front of other people where you're so nervous and you usually, you don't do as well sometimes when you're in front of people, even if you've practiced something a lot.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
one of the things that just warms my GAC heart is the response of the audience to the kids. So if they get up there and their trick doesn't work the first time, they get so much encouragement and the crowd goes wild.
Yeah, I love
when
it.
they land it.
Yeah.
And so it's like this whole, like all these things that are all interacting to just provide this amazing life experience that can be translated to other areas, outside of juggling. So I thought it would be kind of fun because I looked up I was like, I know this is really good for kids. And I know that, one of my specific things that I have been researching and writing and sharing about a lot is just how we need to get off screens. And this is for adults and kids that just, that all that time on screens is just taking away so much it's taken away from other things that are more important. And of course, kids up here are completely off screens. And so it opens up this opportunity to do a lot of stuff that they end up really enjoying. So they're playing cards with their friends instead of video games.
Yeah.
They're playing ping pong. They're doing the Diablo and juggling. And my hope is that this will translate to going home and preferring to do those things. I don't see you as a big screen guy.
No, not at all.
Right.
I'm always outdoors, and this is why I love coming back here. It's because in England, being outdoors just means that you're going to get cold and wet. So I like it being able to come here, being up in the mountains, and being able to play, because I love playing. But nowadays, when you say, "Oh, do you play?" It's like, "Oh yeah, I played this game," or "I played this game." It's like, "Well, no. Do you want to play with a Diablo, or do you want to play with cards? You know, things that are actual tactile things. You know, and even for adults as well. I get so many people. It's like, "Oh no, we don't play. We're not kids." It's like, well, playing can be such a beneficial part of your life. You know, you can play and you can have fun without it being to do with technology, without you having to stare at a screen. You can learn something new, you can build your confidence, you can move on to all of these incredible things just by playing, you know, and it's great. It's so good.
Yeah, I hope a lot of the kids go home and get their parents doing it, because I went to free time. I need to practice more during the off season so that I can qualify for the Cirque de GAC next summer. But I just spent one free time there, and this is what got me researching because I loved it. Yeah. And I loved just the challenge of it, and also just the focus of it. Really it felt like a great stress reliever. And so I think as an adult, like you said, I think a lot of adults would be a lot happier if they played more, whatever play means for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Play could be going on a hike, or it could be doing a hobby you love, art or something. It can be a different form for everybody. But for sure, families, oh my gosh, to imagine like families doing Diablo together.
Yeah, they have a circus day every Sunday or something.
Yeah. It would be just, I'm sure your family will be doing that. You're going to have like the toddlers doing their...
That is what actually happens at our summer barbecues.
Yeah.
I'm there teaching them.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think a lot of people will go into it with the negativity of, I can't do that. You know, there's no way. I've never been able to do that. And being able to break through that barrier and be like, you can't do that yet. It's such a good camp mentality. And playing the guitar, playing all of these different, you know, instruments or things like that, you need the confidence to start at it. You need the passion to keep it going. And then when you get that at the end, you're going to reap all those rewards of all these cool tricks, or maybe it's the instrument that you can now play, all of these brilliant talents that you have committed yourself to doing. And you walk out the other end being more qualified, more confident, and having learnt something. And I think that's what keeps me coming back, is seeing that smile on someone's face after they've learned. They're like, I can do it, Barrow, look at me go. And I'm just there like, amazing, melts my heart. It shows that I've done it. I've done what I came out to do. So.
Oh my gosh, I know, it's so exciting. And it was like, I remember when I was doing it, I really had trouble catching it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I must have had 40 misses before I caught it. And it's funny because it's like the dopamine hit that you get when you land the trick after practicing so much is so good. And of course, that's why we're all kind of addicted to screens, is because we think, you know, we get some kind of, our brain gets like the stimulation, this little dopamine hit, but oh my gosh, the tactile real one is so much better.
Yeah,
definitely. The real life thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so there were a couple things that I wanted to focus on when I researched, and I think it's important for people to know that playing, I mean, we know that play is the work of childhood, right? Everybody knows, like everyone's saying this, like kids need to play. They need to just play on their own with toys and Legos and stuff. They need to play with friends. It is literally how they grow and learn, and their brain gets developed. So play is so important. And it's funny, like when I think about, you know, maybe in the old days, people would say, oh, you stop playing around with your Diablo and, you know, get to your schoolwork or whatever it might be. But I think it's important for people to know that you're actually doing really important brain work when you're doing this stuff. So one of the things that it says like, I looked up like specifically the Diablo, but also other forms of juggling, has several proven positive impacts on the brain. So people have done research on this. One of them was improved cognitive functions. And the top one, which is something that kids right now are struggling with, is focus and concentration.
Yeah. 100%. And that's it. When you're trying to learn something like that, you have to be fixated on what are my hands doing? How am I doing? And that kind of level of concentration is not really needed in the rest of whatever we're learning out and about. And being able to really fixate on that and concentrate on that is something, like you say, that is not really used. People are they're half watching TV while half scrolling on their phone. And it's like, well, no, let's go 100% concentration on juggling. And then that's how you progress. That's how you learn. So.
Gosh, I wish we could track our campers who go home and keep it up, and how it impacts like schoolwork, you know, or what, like, because if you can get your brain, you know, that brain plasticity, and you can get that focus and concentration improved in one thing, it does, I know, translate to other, you know, ability to focus and concentrate. So I think that's just really good. That was one thing. And then it also just said like hand-eye coordination and reaction time. Like, you know, you could think how that translates to so many different things that we do.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
Like, for instance, I will never forget, I was at my grandma's house when I was a teenager, and she knocked off a glass off the table. And without even thinking, I just caught it in my hand. And so this hand-eye coordination, this confidence, all of this, it will come into your everyday life. Whether that is saving your grandma's glass, or whether that could be something even more, like maybe someone needs help with something that you need to throw something, you need to catch something, you know. All of these skills are able to be kind of used elsewhere in life, and they are extremely handy.
Yeah.
Excuse the pun, but they are something that, you know, your hand-eye coordination, your spatial awareness, all of this stuff is really, really beneficial to everyday life.
Yes.
And especially, I've heard, like, people have told me that I should be a pilot because they have great hand-eye coordination. They're looking at everything. They're in the cockpit. They're doing all of these things. And apparently, juggling is really good for, obviously, for like sports, tennis, rocket sports, things like that. You know, I'm a really good ping pong player. I don't really play much. It's because of all my juggling skills. And all of these things you can then use in the rest of your life. So.
Yeah, there's a lot they're talking about now, like a lot of kids, because of being raised on just like very flat surfaces, playgrounds that are very like, you know, they have a foam flat thing, that there's less balance and just kind of ability to like understand where your body is in the world and that kind of thing. And that, obviously we see that up here, that we're walking over rocks and uneven trails and hills, and there's a lot of just we know that is actually, it takes a little more concentration to walk around here, but also your body and your core is getting like used to being like off balance. They actually talk about how older people also need more of that, like in those Blue Zone movies they talked about how like in Sardinia, Italy, the older people are healthier and live longer, and it's because it's like cobblestone, hilly things, and every single day they're walking to get their bread and they're up and down. So it's like 95-year-olds are on like cobbled streets, uneven surfaces, whereas here we have like chairs that lift us out. When we start getting a little too weak, instead of like making ourselves, you know, anyway. So I just think that all of this, the hand-eye coordination, the balance, your physical embodied how you live really impacts your brain and your health like forever.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so that's super cool. So we kind of already covered that spatial awareness, and then the multitasking involved with like, you know, looking and using your hand and all of that is, yet again, that's probably why you were able to grab your grandma's glass.
Exactly.
You're like able to see and react more quickly.
Yeah, for sure. And this is just due to, they call it like muscle memory. My muscles remember how to catch things. But also when you're talking about like, if you've got a really stressful life, you're juggling being a parent and having a job, you're juggling all of these things. And that's a literal phrase of being able to keep things in the air.
Oh my gosh.
So like, that's when it's hand in hand. Like people think of like, if you're juggling all these things, it's because it's stressful. But if you are able to kind of concentrate on all these things and multitask, as you were saying, and you can do that by practicing to juggle. Like literally juggling will help you with all of your aspects of life.
With the actual juggling.
Exactly.
Well, and actually that was one of the things that they said, that juggling helps with stress relief and mood enhancement. And it says engaging in a focused activity like juggling can provide a productive distraction from stress and worries. And the physical activity also releases endorphins, which are natural mood boosters. So some studies have suggested that juggling can reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression.
For sure. And we actually saw it at one of our sessions when you were doing your Diablo, and there was a young boy who was not he was a little bit homesick and was potentially not having the best time here, and he came and did Diablo. 20 minutes later, you would have no idea that he'd been crying that morning. You'd have no clue, because he was just absolutely loving the Diablo. He was there, he was learning tricks, he was throwing it, he was catching it. He was so proud of himself. We were all smiling and clapping him along, and that was it. You know, that was the stress relief. That was the distraction techniques. And yeah, it is real. And we've got proof of that here. So.
I feel like in every classroom and in every home, like I always talk about like having like kind of like a calm down or stress relief basket where you have a couple of things to like some coloring or different things, but it's always been more like sedentary, like friendship bracelets and coloring,
sitting down and reading or something like that.
Which those are also can be
of
good.
Course, yeah.
But I really like the idea. Like I'm definitely gonna have a Diablo in my thing at home. Like if I'm having a day, you know, whatever, just go out there and just like do a little Diabloing in the backyard and just kind of whatever. I think that is very cool, and I just know that for these kids, so great to just provide them with something that they might be able to use throughout their whole like adolescence, adulthood, to calm themselves down as a distraction, to find friends to do it with.
Yeah, for sure. And I was lucky enough that it kind of fell into my life thanks to my dad. And I've been to lots of different shows, lots of different kind of like circus themed festivals where you've just got a big group of adults playing, and just seeing like a big sports hall full of people juggling. And it's just because they love it. They absolutely love it. And me being able to share that passion, share the joy, sharing all these skills, I'm very, very lucky myself. So.
I love that so much. It's funny because as you were talking, I was thinking about adults who do like Civil War reenactments and get dressed up and go out and pretend play.
Yeah.
And how good that is for people, or people who are like in the, astronomy club and they meet to go look at stars together. And I just feel like a lot of that has gotten lost from adults' lives. And so then kids aren't seeing adults playing and having fun. So one of the greatest gifts, right, that you've given and to these kids is like, here's a fully grown adult
for sure.
who's showing them how much fun it is to play, and you're so good at it, and it's motivational, like, well, and also they can do it forever.
Yeah. Definitely.
And like I was thinking too, I bet it helps with musical instruments, playing musical instruments, and so many other things that we do. Anyway, so cool. And then finally, the last one I wanted to touch on, but there were even more, was things that these are part of what we're really trying to build in our kids here, which is that we know that juggling builds perseverance and confidence.
Yep, 100%.
So how do you think that kind of works? Like how it is that it does those things for kids too?
So I would say perseverance is that they haven't got it to begin with. And if they keep on picking it up, if they keep on, like we say, get back on the horse, all of those things, if they keep on persevering with it, they will learn a new skill. And then they can be so proud of themselves, and then they'll have the confidence to move on. Maybe they are on the high ropes course and they're not able to get up, and they're like, actually, I learned to juggle today, I can do anything. And then they start climbing and they realize they can do anything.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things is just to say to people that we are all the same person. We're all just people. I've got 2 arms, I've got 2 legs. We are all equally, we're all given equal possibilities. And if I can learn all of these things, anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Anyone at any age. And then my goal for this summer, right at the start of the summer, was to build confidence in campers and counsellors alike. And I think through circus, as well as through teaching other things as well, I feel like I've really got people coming to me like, Barrow, I've managed to do this, I've managed to do that. And just from their smile, just from their demeanour, I know that they're leaving here as a more confident, more capable, happier person. And yeah, I think it's incredible.
It's been awesome. And then I think it would be fun to also just like sidetrack off of the important Diablo and juggling skills, talk a little bit about some exciting news and fun event coming up. I don't know when this podcast episode will be released, but we're all pretty excited for you. Do you want to talk to our community about another kind of good thing about you coming to Gold Arrow Camp and starting to get involved in this community?
So I met my fiance here. That's what we're getting at, right?
Yes, exactly.
Wonderful.
Exactly.
Yes, so we are actually going to be getting married next month, which is a little bit crazy because we've been planning it this summer.
Yeah.
So the last 2 months, while we've been doing sessions at GAC, we've also been wedding planning. So it's been busy.
Yes.
Is a good word for it. But yes, myself and Sage will be married as of the 19th of September. So whether
Yeah.
the podcast episode will be out before then, who knows? But yeah, it's incredible. And being able to find so many amazing people all in one place and be ourselves, and yeah, it's wonderful. And I couldn't ask for someone better. She's my surfing instructor, she's my boating instructor, she's my Spanish teacher, she's my best friend, she's everything to me.
Yoga?
So, my yoga instructor, how could I forget? How could I forget?
Yeah.
So yes.
So good. Well, we're so excited for you, and it's really fun. Obviously, it's really fun for us when our staff meet each other and end up together. And we have lots over the history of GAC. So many, you know, we have little campers here now who are Schmoop,
Yeah.
who's a GC. His parents met at GAC in the 90s or early 2000s. So it's pretty cool to like have another generation of,
Here we are.
you know, GAC, another GAC family. So we
Exactly.
love it.
No.
Anyway, Barrow, you have just been so much fun to have up here. We hope you and Sage will be back for many more years, and your path will end up leading you back here
I'm
as
sure we
much
will
as
be.
possible.
I'm sure we will be.
But thanks for coming on the podcast.
Awesome, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for having me. Cheers.